There are so many different characters that we can play in any tabletop RPG. From the dumb himbo barbarian, to the preppy school kid who wants to go on an adventure, to the heroic and brave paladin, there's a wide diversity of characters we play. But there's one character archetype and or trope that I've been falling in love with recently, and that is the Snobby Elite. So today, we're going to be talking about how to play and why you should play the Snobby Elitist character in your next tabletop RPG. So what is the Snobby Elitist character trope? It's a character with elite status due to their heritage, wealth, prestige, and or renown. Folks who bend arm, knee, and feet to please this character. Usually they're arrogant, uncaring, and cold, and or indifferent to everyone else other than themselves. For them, kindness is not a factor, rather it's a form of weakness for some and a form of disgust for others. They are the kind of character to disregard help, especially when they need it the most, due to their pride or arrogance. Some examples of those include Miles Edgeworth from Ace Attorney, Emma Frost from X-Men, Squall Leonhardt from Final Fantasy VIII, and Benedict Cumberbatch's portrayal of Sherlock Holmes. And as you know me very well, usually these tropes definitely appear in anime. For example, Seto Kaiba from Yu-Gi-Oh!, Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z, and several Gundam villains like Char Azenball are some great examples. So why is this such a problem for GMs and players alike in their games? Well, that's more of a rhetorical question. These characters aren't bad or good to play, that's all a matter of perspective. I think they're really fun to play, especially when you have a good group of GMs and or players to help you along the way. I do think these characters can be a bit abrasive and obnoxious if the players or GM do not know how to manage these characters well to create a conducive and collaborative story. So to start, I think one of the biggest things you should do with your elitist character is lean into optimization and let them be arrogant and boastful about their most powerful skill. If your character is arrogant and they're a top tier fighter, lean into their strength. Lean into them being a powerhouse who can kick ass at any single given point. By leaning into this, you allow your player to subsequently be awesome when they shine the best, while also being crappy when they shine the worst. In fact, their past can also give leverage to moving the plot and narrative forward. For example, if the GM meets royalty or some prestigious opportunity or plot narrative, then this is an opportunity for the Proud Elite character to shine the brightest. Also, if your character is a Proud Elite and from some royal or renowned family, or known for some particular skill, GMs, you can lean into that. Create unique experiences that are based off their renown. Say your character is really well known as an actor and they're proud for that. If they walk into a town, people are going to notice them, both people who you want to get noticed by and people who you don't want to get noticed by. This creates interesting combat and social encounters for players and the GM, and not only leans into that character, but allows for a fun and creative time when the PC realizes, hey, my backstory is being brought in to the game. So you are interested in creating the Snobby Elite, but how do you create them? And furthermore, how do you not fall into the same trudge of not moving your character forward and having them grow from these experiences? So I think the first question to ask is, why is your PC the way they are? Why is your PC arrogant? What drives them to be a snobby brat? What makes them the way they are? Was it a past traumatic experience? Was it how they grew up with their family? Was it the historical racism that might exist in their world? Or is it simply the fact they grew up with money and they knew no one who could beat them at their particular skill? And finally, why does it call them to be part of the rest of the group? Why does a Snobby Elite want to work with the rest of the team? And what do they gain from that? And the biggest caveat is you can also lean into your character's vulnerabilities. While the Snobby Elite is super strong in one way, they're going to have major flaws, from not asking for help to pushing down their feelings, or even just not wanting other people to see them weak can be great ways to show your character's vulnerabilities. So ask yourself, what are your character's vulnerabilities and how do they represent themselves when they're with the other team members? Lean heavily into their flaws, skill-wise and personality-wise. Because while your character might be super proud and extremely skilled, they are bound to their vulnerabilities because everyone has vulnerabilities, even the strongest and brightest PCs. I think a good example is Dragon Ball Z. Vegeta throughout the main Dragon Ball Z series has immense pride for himself and for the Saiyan race. His rivalry of Goku is based off of his own self-pride and the one that he was given because he is one of the last remaining full-blood Saiyans. It is only through learning to care for others and fighting for others, like his son Trunks, and even sacrificing himself in the Buu Saga, that he overcomes his pride. He had to swallow his pride and realize that there were other people aside from himself that he cared about. That is character growth. But what about some best rules for playing a Snobby Elite? Well, for players and GM alike, it's best that you talk about the kind of character you're playing. Establish, especially in Session 0, what kind of synergy you want with the team. Do you want to organically develop the relationship with the other team members, or is the relationship already established? Is the Snobby Elite someone that your other characters know about? Or do you want to introduce them organically, say via a bar or via Session 1 where everyone is together? Furthermore, establish some level of teamwork. Even if your PC is a jerk and proud about it, don't have your PCs constantly be antagonistic to each other and against the other team members. For instance, it's awesome to have good roleplay, but you don't want to ruin that fun. And I personally err on the side of avoiding PvP situations unless all players and GMs have discussed this prior, as well as discussing what the results are for PvP situations. And finally, understand and find what makes your character crumple and lean into that. Tell your GM what the weaknesses are and especially what will break your PC. Because while your character is super strong, it is so gratifying to see that cool and powerful and proud character get pegged down a bit. So think about those 3 things in your next RPG session. So to conclude, I think a Snobby Elite character can be a great addition to your RPG alongside the rest of the awesome cast of characters you can play. As long as you talk upfront of your GM and the other players, and you have an idea of where you want to take your character, I think they can be a fun, awesome, and also really hilarious character to add to your next game. Let me know down below in the comments section if you've played a character similar, or if there's a particular kind of trope of character you want me to cover in my next video. And as always, everyone, I'm the average everyday queer host, Blurty Disposition, and I hope you all have an awesome day. Ciao!